Dzogchen Today podcast. Welcome to Dzogchen Today's podcast. This series of What is Dzogchen dives into the foundation of Dzogchen and presents the richness of its tradition, its history, lineage, path, fruition, and much more.
Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Marie-Laure and I'm your host today. In this fourth episode of What is Dzogchen, we will discuss the lineage transmission. So to find out more about it, I'm very pleased to welcome Mila Khyentse.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
And Nils Derboule.
Hello.
Thank you for being with us. So Mila Khyentse, you're a trained scholar, consultant and teacher of Dzogchen. You have been traditionally trained in the Himalayas and in Europe, and you're a lineage holder.
Yes, it is.
And Nils Derboule, you're project manager in a social housing company. You have been studying Dzogchen for 10 years, and you are involved in several projects to help spreading it in the world today.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so welcome. So the topic of our today's podcast is the transmission lineage, which is actually a crucial element for almost all living spiritual tradition. So Mila Khyentse, as a Dzogchen lineage holder, could you explain us what do we mean exactly by lineage and what is transmitted?
Actually, in the Dzogchen tradition, it's really straightforward. The lineage is twofold. The first one is a question of the transmission of the essence of the mind, which is called the primordial nature in the Dzogchen tradition. This is related to the ground lineage, and this is actually the most important form of the transmission, so the most important form of the lineage. And then there is the second one, the second lineage, which is the formal lineage, which is related to all the ritual, all the texts, everything that describes actually the path, the way to reach the primordial nature, which is the essence lineage. And then to try to achieve the goal of the primordial nature of the mind, which is our own primordial nature. So the lineage in the Dzogchen tradition is this really particular lineages, this twofold lineage. And then after you have what we can call, and if I recall correctly, we talked about that in a previous episode. We also talk about specific teachings, lineages, which are usually divided in the Tibetan tradition into Kama, the Kama lineage, and the Dharma lineage. So we already talked about that, so I won't I won't emphasize this one, but this also is called lineages because you have specific teachings according to specific cycles, which are completely linked to specific lineages. So you have masters of lineages and you have cycles of teachings, lineages, and both are linked because the master lineage hold the teachings lineages, and this is the way it works in the Great Perfection tradition.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and
Nils,
maybe just to add something, a little thing, if I can, we can say that essence lineage and formal lineage, they are not two separate things. I mean, it's always they come together, come together, and they are required to achieve the goal as well. So we cannot separate them actually.
And the main point actually of the lineage is the transmission. It means that it has to be from a master to a disciple, and which disciple will become the next master, and so on and so on. So this is also the parts, one of the important part of the lineage.
Okay. So nowadays, with the social networks and the internet, we have a plethora of offers of spiritual traditions.
For sure.
Which is kind of good somehow, with also rituals and religions. Is it beneficial to wander around like this, or is it necessary to be part of something for a long time?
I think I think it's very interesting to be able to reach all these kind of traditions, of these possibilities, to get to know a little bit about our mind or whatever. It depends, or even to pray, or I don't know. And it's very interesting, but you can wander. It's not a problem. But if you want to reach a goal, and it depends on the goal, you want to reach, you have to follow a tradition, to be inscribed in tradition. So I think, and so at the beginning, we are used to do that. So just to
wander around,
to discover,
exactly,
to pick up a bit what we are interested to,
like a bee or with the flowers, or I don't know. But at one time, if you want really to get to develop and
to be quite serious.
I don't know. Maybe. You have to follow. In one particular lineage, that's for sure. But after a while, you can keep going, like and go and see other traditions, and it's not a problem.
Enrich yourself with different traditions. This is what you would say. Keep following one specific tradition, but then
that's for sure. And you can read or hear about another one. It's not a problem. But just if you want to reach something, just follow one.
To stick to.
Just to stick one lineage.
Yeah, for sure. You have to be rooted to something,
exactly,
to a specific lineage. If not, you cannot achieve the goal that this lineage proposed to you. But for sure, you can go to whatever traditions you want.
That's not a problem.
But you need the right time, because if it's not the right time, it can be really confusing. If you go to a theistic tradition, and then you are for yourself practicing a Buddhist tradition, which they emphasize the fact that there is an Atman, and the other traditions they talk about Atman, just to take
to talk about
to
Buddhism and
just to use this really old debate between these two different traditions. So when you are inscribed in one tradition, and when you know that it's your tradition, then after all the traditions, all the lineages you will just see, you will just discover, it won't be confusing for you, because you are inscribed in something.
It's rooted.
Yeah, it's completely rooted.
Don't mix them up. Don't mix all the tradition, all the things you can see. Just stick to the formal and essential lineage you are inscribed in, and it will be okay. But
this is the best way to achieve a result, anyway.
That's for sure.
I think that's a very important point to hear today, because we have access to so many things that it helps to understand that.
Maybe one other question will be mixing things as well. And we know that, for example, in the Dzogchen tradition, we say all the time to be very careful to do not mix, for example, one practice with another one, even within the Dzogchen tradition, because they don't have the same path, the same practice, the same kinds of concentration, and so on and so on. So it's maybe even worse if you mix up something coming from an outer tradition with your own tradition. But you can just stick to the knowledge and the wisdom of other traditions to just refresh, to just make your own
That's a good point, yeah.
better living tradition. This is really important.
And to keep it effective, actually.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So Mila Khyentse, as a lineage holder, could you tell us how did the transmission of the teaching happen in your case?
This is a bit specific and a bit funny, actually. When I started the Dzogchen path, my future master just called me. Actually, I was just a student finishing my PhD thesis, and then Alain Chorten, who was one of the Dzogchen masters in the eastern part of Tibet, just called me. I've never met him before. And he just called me to join him and to be the next lineage holder.
Out of the blue.
Like by phone or
no, not by iPhone, but I knew a woman who was a teacher in the Tibetan regions, and then she met him, and he told her, okay, he has to come and he has to follow my step. And just to take over the lineages I am holding. So I was like, okay, okay, let's do it. And then so I just went back there in Asia, in Tibet. And first of all, I had to, how do you say that? I had to prove that I was worth it.
Really?
Yeah, and to just be able to hold the lineages. So I had I had some exam.
Really?
Oral examinations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yes. With the knowledge I had at the time, the kind of understanding I had with my own mind, with the primordial nature of the mind, and so on and so on.
Okay. And practical exercise as well, or only?
What kind of practical exercises?
I don't know. I'm a little bit curious because you work with your mind, so it's difficult to prove something.
Well, for the masters of Dzogchen, it's a bit different. They can have some signs, and they can have some. They can read you in a different way, and this was one of the challenges I had to go through. And then also at that time when I came to him, he gave me transmission, and yes, I had to prove with some of specific concentration and special signs that I was worth it to receive this kind of transmission, this kind of teachings. And then I was enthroned as the next lineage holder. I received several names also with the lineage, and I make myself how do you say? I inscribe myself also in the lineage in a really specific way, just to take some vows to do not abandon the teachings and this, especially this kind of teachings from this lineage. So as we talk about that already in the previous episode, there is a specific lineage holder for a specific teachings and for a specific lineage of teaching. So it's not your decision. You cannot say, or you cannot declare yourself the next lineage holder of any kind of teachings, for sure. And this is actually the job of the previous lineage holder, who has to find, first of all, and then to train, and then to declare, okay, this one, whoever it is, this one is worth it. To be able to just hold the teachings I am holding. So it's in this way the Dzogchen is still alive, because the responsibility comes from the holder to
the next one.
To the next one. So it's not something that it comes from the universe or whatever.
It's not improvised at all.
Not at all. It's really structured, and it has to continue that way because it's the heart of the great perfection, actually.
And the authenticity.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for sharing this.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes. And so that's another question about what you were just saying. So could we say that a being that has a profound realization of Dzogchen becomes naturally a lineage holder? Because you were also saying that, when a teacher transmits to his disciple, then he will teach as well. But there is a difference between teaching and then holding a lineage. Yes,
for sure. What we can say in the Dzogchen tradition is that when you gain or you obtain a specific realization, you can teach others. So we say you carry a blessing, you carry the blessing of the great perfection. So you can give teachings to others. You can be a holder of the essence of the great perfection. But this is not about lineage, it's about great perfection. So you can be a teacher of the great perfection, for sure, when you reach a certain realization. But the lineage holders are really specific. They hold, as we said, they hold because they were given the specific teachings. Or in case of the Terten, the discoverers of treasures, they hold their own teachings that they will pass on, they will transmit to the next generation. So this is two kinds of different things. In one hand, there is the realization that leads you to be able to give the blessing of the great perfection to others.
To share it.
And it can be at the same time, for sure. You can have also the responsibility to hold the lineage and to transmit it to the next generation. So your responsibility is to make it a living thing, not forgetting it somewhere. In some monastery or whatever. And there is these two kinds of different things. One is the transmission of the specific lineage. The second one is the transmission of the universal great perfection. And someone can be both, but you can also be only just a master of the great perfection without holding any lineage.
And it's cool enough, I think.
It's cool enough, for sure.
Well, thank you. Nils, do you have anything to
No.
add? No.
After that, no, it's okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much to
Thank you
both
so
of
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
And stay tuned. We will continue this topic in the next episode.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You can find more episodes on your website, dzogchentoday.org. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review us on your favorite podcast app and share it with your friends. We will be pleased to receive your feedbacks on podcast@dzogchentoday.org.